What's up, ladies and gentlemen? We are back with another episode of Pound for Pound. I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
Guys, we have a very, very special interview for you guys today with the former lineal heavyweight champion of the world and former heavyweight champion of the world. You know, one of the best we've ever seen, Mr. Tyson Fury, coming up. But guys, make sure you stay tuned. After the interview, Henry and I are about to get into current events of what's going on. Callouts, not callouts, but make sure you stay tuned.
Replacements.
A Shadow Line production.
Thank you, guys. It's a pleasure to be on the show. Thank you.
Man, Tyson, how are you? You said you're in the UK right now?
I'm in the UK press conference? Right now. Our press conference in London for my next fight with Usyk. So we're here to do tons of press. I've been doing it 6 hours already.
Wow, that's
a lot of press.
You know it, but when you're the king of entertainment in the sport of boxing at the moment, this is kind of what comes with it, and that's why they write you the big checks, I believe.
I suppose, yeah, that's what it is. I'm like the godfather now of boxing. I've been in it that long.
You've been in it boxing for a long, long time, and obviously your record shows it. 34-1, 24 stoppages, and from what I believe, you're the tallest heavyweights we've ever had. An astounding 6'9", 85-inch reach. Yeah. I don't know how many stones that is. Because I've been trying. I know you measure it in stones. I've been trying.
Yeah, I'll make it easy here. I'm about 270 pounds right now.
270 right now. And to be able to box the way that you do, to be able to dance the way you do around that ring and use that footwork, I don't think we've ever really seen a heavyweight like that besides Muhammad Ali. And you do it so effortlessly, and obviously, your fights with Deontay Wilder were phenomenal fights. And now your rivalry, might I say, with Alexander Usyk is now something that we are at the edge of our seats to potentially bear witness to. So December 21st, you're having that rematch. How are you feeling about the upcoming fight, and what's the preparation like right now?
I'm looking forward to the event. I'm looking forward to the fight. You know, the last fight we had in May, it was a close fight. He won on a split decision by a point. So it could have went either way, really, the last fight. He got the decision, so it gives me that fire beneath me now to run it back and get it back, get that decision back. Deuces. So I want to get that. I'm hungry for the revenge now. And I'm in camp already. I've been training 4 weeks already. I've got another 9 to go. I'm feeling pretty good, you know. It's very important at this level, with my experience, not to do too much, not to leave it in the gym. And I know a lot of people think, oh, well, the harder you train, the better it is. Definitely not. You can leave it all in the gym and have nothing left on the night. And it's very important for me to not do that right now. A lot of inexperienced people will say to you, have you run further than you've ever run? Have you trained harder than you've ever trained? The answer is no, because you can only train a certain amount of hardness and run a certain amount of miles before you leave it all in the gym. And I'm got me trainer, Sugar Hill Stewart. I'm under his watchful eye, and sometimes he'll say to me, go on, let's do 10 in the gym, let's do 15, or let's do 5, depending on how he sees that I'm progressing. So apart from that, everything's going really well. I'm really looking forward to the opportunity to run it back and try and get those belts back.
Yeah, well, Tyson, it seems like you're really, you know, one of the adjustments that it looks like you're making is, you know, not leaving it in the gym. And a lot of people don't really know that, and that's very smart. So I applaud you for that. This next fight with Tyson Fury, what technical adjustments are you going to make in the fight that you probably made the mistake maybe in the first? It was a razor-thin, close fight, but how would you fight this fight a little bit different?
I think that the adjustments that I need to make is less complacency and a little bit more focus and less clowning, because I was clowning a lot in the ring. I was doing a lot of showboating and messing around. And I wasn't focused 100% when I was in there. I was playing a lot of times and enjoying it too much. And I think I became complacent and got caught. And that was it. You know, heavyweight boxing, it only takes one punch and you're caught. And I lost a round. I got a standing count, 10-8 round. And that cost me the fight by a split decision. So other than that, if I can just keep me focused and be on the game for the full amount of distance, if it goes that far, then I don't see why I don't win the decision this time again. But don't get me wrong, if the knockout comes early on or before 12, then I'll take it for sure.
Yeah, I know you mentioned training under Sugar, and shout out to Sugar because he actually trains down here in the gym where I live down here in Florida.
Okay.
And so I've been able to watch him train numerous guys in that gym. So big shout out to him.
Yeah.
How long are you doing majority of your camp out there in the UK, or when will you potentially move to Saudi?
I usually go to Saudi about 2 weeks before, but in the UK right now, it's shit weather. It's raining all the time and dull and cold, and it's just getting worse by the day. So I'm going to go somewhere where it's a bit warmer, get a bit of sunshine on my back, a bit more positivity. Waking up in the sun is always more positive than waking up in the rain and cold. So I get away for about 6 weeks and then go to Saudi for a couple after that.
Yeah, for a victory over a guy, let's say you get the job done, you become the undisputed, lineal heavyweight champion of the world. We saw that you were, that you were at the Joshua fight with Dubois.
Yeah.
If you do win this fight, is there a trilogy against Usyk, or do you bring Anthony Joshua and be like, hey, you know what? Let's do this for the UK, and you sell out the massive stadium?
At this level, when I beat Usyk next time, God willing, I do what I believe I can do. And someone said to me, my own promoter said recently, today, in an interview when we both sat there, like, you win this and you're back on top and there's no talking point, like, that's it, you put it behind you. And I said, no, Frank, that's not what we're going to do. When I win this fight with Usyk, then there has to be a third fight. There has to be. Because if you win one and I win one, then there has to be a third fight. Regardless who won the second one, there has to be a third fight to see who is the best out of us two. One each, one decider. And that's what I'll look for after that. And then after that's done, in next year, maybe February or March, then I'll look for the winner of the rematch between AJ and Dubois.
So is AJ and Dubois, so that's confirmed that they will be having a rematch?
It's not confirmed, but I know there's a lot of talk about a rematch. And let's just face it, if someone knocked me out in 5 rounds, the last thing I'd want to do is fight somebody else. I'd want to fight the motherfucker who knocked me out.
Right.
Isn't that what fighting men do?
Right.
I lost the decision to Usyk in my last fight. I'm not running down the road to fight somebody else. I said, get that fucking bitch back. Let me take him on again straight away.
Right. But wouldn't you say that it's for a fight like yours that was razor thin, was back and forth, and it went to distance? Wouldn't you say that's more warranted for a rematch than a fight that was stopped in under 5 rounds?
Yeah, for sure. Here's the thing, though. Me and Usyk do this fight now in December. Dubois has to fight soon anyway because he's going to keep active, and he's only going to get a certain amount of money for low-level opposition. You'd want to, in this game, I'm not sure about anybody else, but I want to fight for the biggest amounts of money every time. It doesn't matter who it is. I want the biggest amount for what I'm doing. I don't want to fight someone easy and get a low amount. I want to fight someone tough and get a large amount because the risk-reward outweighs the easy fight. So if I was Dubois, me and Usyk at the top of the division fighting for all the belts, the only other big name for him to make big money out of in the UK is AJ. So I would definitely say do the AJ fight. And more for AJ's side because he knows he can make big money out of it and he gets the chance to rectify the knockout loss.
Yeah. So let me ask you then there. I mean, you kind of just mentioned a lot of heavyweight, a lot of the competitors at the heavyweight division. But where do you see a guy like Andy Ruiz or even a Deontay Wilder? Is there a potential matchup between those two, or who would you like to see? Because I love the heavyweight division has not been this hot since maybe the Lennox Lewis man. So the last time that I can remember, and Holyfield and Tyson, and back in that day, and I feel like you guys have resurrected that. How if you could tournament bracket everybody in, like what would you put Ruiz, and then what would you put Deontay Wilder?
Being truthful, I'd like to see poor old Deontay retire from boxing because he's had when I beat Wilder, it was 44-0 with 43 KOs. And he KO'd the guy who went the distance with him in a rematch. So that meant he knocked out every single person he ever faced, 44 people. And obviously he lost the 3 fights to me. And since that third trilogy we had, we took a lot of years off each other's lives. That 12-round war, which ended in the 11th round by knockout, that takes a lot of it out your tank. And you don't recover from fights like that. Between me and Wilder trilogy, there was 10 knockdowns in that fight. It takes a lot out of a fighter, a lot. And even when he's come back and he's had a couple of fights since against Joseph Parker and against Zhilei Zhang, the Chinese guy, and he's only a shadow of his former glory. The only thing left that remains the same about Deontay is his name. And that's it. So I'd like to see him retire for sure before he does damage to himself. And Ruiz is right back in the mix. He's been a little inactive for my liking over the last few years. But he's just had a fight with Jarrell Big Baby Miller, and they got a draw, which was a good fight. And I think that both of them fighters need to keep active from now on. I know Jarrell's coming back off like a 3-year layoff and just had the 1 fight back. So I'd like to see those guys back in the mix. They're both tough competitors. We know Andy knocked out AJ. And we know Big Baby's been undefeated in whatever, 27 fights or something for a long period of time. So they're 2 good heavyweights. I'd also like to see Jared Anderson back in the mix, the young baby.
Right, young Big Baby, yes.
The young Big Baby. Now, for me, he's the most talented heavyweight in the world, by far. But coming off his last fight, he had a knockout loss. So talent sometimes just doesn't cut it if you're rushed into fights that you're not ready for. So he fought this guy called Martin Bakole, who is an absolute seasoned man, 30 years old, in the prime of his life, as strong as a rhinoceros. And he goes in there with a 24-year-old kid who's had 17 tomato cans and come through with flying colours. But he wasn't ready for that fight. Maybe 5 or 6 more fights a year or so away from that fight. And it's sort of put him back a long way now. And that does a lot to a fighter's confidence. But I'd like to see him back in the ring as well. There's quite a few decent American heavyweights coming through. And America always has, they've got to have some name, haven't they? They've got to have somebody in the heavyweight division. At one stage, they rule the heavyweight division for a long period of time. And now it's like, well, there's no real American heavyweight boxers, only a handful, which is crazy to think of that. So there's some great fights in the mix, and who knows, with Turkey, Al Sheikh in Saudi Arabia putting on these fantastic events,
right?
All these fights can be made. I think Ruiz out of the pack is the only one who didn't get an opportunity to fight in Riyadh season.
Right. So,
he
did.
Oh, sorry,
he fought Miller.
Miller, but in Los Angeles.
Miller. In Los Angeles, correct.
Yeah. I'm on about in Saudi Arabia in Riyadh. Yeah.
All right, well, based on just all of the activities, obviously you've expressed a little bit of interest in MMA because obviously MMA is that's a hot growing sport. So Dana White had recently expressed that he's going to be stepping into the world of boxing. How do you see that? How do you foresee that potentially changing kind of the landscape of where boxing has been for a while?
Boxing's in its best place right now than it's been in the last 20 years. Especially with the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia investing so much money into the game and making all the tough fights that's very difficult to make between rival organizations and promoters very easy to make, because there's one thing I know is money speaks all languages and they can make anything happen. For sure. And with Dana White coming into the game, he's done fantastic with the UFC. He's took it from a small unknown company to one of the biggest companies in the world in the fight game. And I think it can only improve the boxing scene if he's involved in it. And especially someone with the knowledge of promoting events and putting on fights in the big cities like Las Vegas, Los Angeles, all over the world. I think he'd only be an added extra to an already fantastic buzz of the boxing.
Yeah. Hey, Tyson, as you know, like we're under one umbrella as mixed martial artists. With Turkey Al Sheikh being in there now, do you think Turkey could really shape the game of boxing, and he's able to build this umbrella with the WBO, the WBC, the IBF? Could he get all these sanctions governing bodies and become one like the UFC? And what do you think about that? Would you like for it to be under like all one umbrella, where you guys become champions and you're undisputed. There's no more, well, he's got this belt, well, he's got that belt. I mean, what's your take on that, Tyson?
You know, there's always, ever since the beginning of it all, there's always been organizations, even in MMA. You got the UFC, you got Bellator, you got Strikeforce, you got, what's the other one? The one that's
Pride.
One FC.
One FC,
yes.
Pride. There's so many different MMA sectors. So there's always, I think competition is healthy. You know, and say I'm fighting for, I don't know, the WBC and I get paid $500 and you're fighting for the WBA and you get paid $1 million. And it's like, well, come on, we need competition to bounce
Negotiation.
back. I believe, yeah. I think it's very healthy because let's face it, if one fight ain't paying, then don't do it. Do something else. Do another fight. You know, it's for a prize fighter. It's pretty simple for me. I like competition because competition drives the money up.
The price up. Right.
So you're saying the reason why the four belt era is important is pretty much because of negotiation rights.
I think so, yeah. Because if us three now go to an auction for say a Ferrari or something, yeah, and we all desperately want this car, well, it's going to sell for more than it would have done originally.
Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I think it's all about that. And I'm all for fighters getting paid as much as possible because I know how hard this game is, the fight game, getting knocked about year in, year out for little amounts of money. And you feel like you're not going anywhere, you're not doing anything. And all of a sudden you might get a breakthrough and it's for peanuts. And I know how difficult it is doing tough fights for no money. I've been there. I've done it 1,000 times. So I'm all for the fighters making a shit ton of money as much as they can. And you want the easiest fights possible for the largest amount of money. And anyone who says they want the most difficult fights possible for the least amount of money is a fucking liar.
You're so right. You're so right. And speaking of the MMA and so recently, a former competitor of yours, a former foe of yours, Francis Ngannou, recently obviously suffered that loss to Anthony Joshua. But then he recently just went back into MMA, knowing all of the different situations and different things that Francis has been through, and not just inside the ring or the cage, but also in life.
Yeah.
Were you able to catch Francis fight this past weekend? And what was your take on that?
I thought he did absolutely fantastic, you know, with all the stuff that's been going on with his child and stuff. As a parent myself of 7 kids, I know how difficult that must be to lose a child, and to go in there and knock out someone who a lot of people thought was going to beat you, and to put on a great performance and get him out there in the first round, it's unbelievable. And even more than that, to come from Cameroon with not $10 in his pocket to France and get kicked out and back and forward, and then to become a multimillionaire, which I had a massive input in making him very rich myself, which I'm proud of, then, you know, it's absolutely an inspiration for anybody, because if he can do it, then anybody can do it. And if we all can do it, anyone can do it. You know what I mean? We're inspirations. We're living inspirations for people out there who don't have hope. I'm telling everyone there is hope, because look at all of us here. I started with fuck all. I don't know about you guys, you know, and we made it up there to be to do well, you know.
Do you think a guy like Francis, would you like him to continue with boxing? Obviously, he had such a good fight with you, Tyson. And a lot of people give him a lot more credit, like as myself, you know, going out there with you being, you know, one of the, you know, the heavyweight king at that time.
Yeah.
Do you think there could still be a future for a guy like Francis Ngannou, even though, you know, he did get, you know, stopped by Anthony Joshua? Like, what adjustments would you probably give to Francis? And do you see him, you know, in the near future, potentially a matchup with him? Or just him coming back to the sport of boxing?
For sure, I'd like to see him back in the boxing game. Heavyweight boxing, especially when the guys are such a big, like Joshua and Ngannou are, and they're just teeing off on each other with massive haymakers. Anyone can go at any time. Like, AJ knocked Ngannou out cold with that right hand, yeah? But recently, AJ's been knocked out cold himself. Similar again, sprawled out up the canvas. So it can happen to anybody. I'd like to see Ngannou back, and I thought he was a good boxer, and I had a tough fight with him myself. And you know, there's another one. There's another shit ton of money I'd like to make to do another fight and get that massive bag again. Who wouldn't?
Absolutely, Tyson. Now, you've been through a lot. Your story is extremely inspiring. That you've been through your life. You've been through the ups and the downs. You've been at the height of your career. You've fell down and you've gotten back up each and every time.
Yeah,
And I had a chance to actually see your specials. I watched a few episodes for sure. Your
yeah,
special you had on I believe
Netflix.
Netflix, and just getting to watch your dynamic to just being at home and dealing with your family. You're now at 36 years of age. You've been in this game for a very, very long time. I mean, it's in a sense, it's a family business.
Yeah.
How long do you foresee yourself continuing to do this? Because we know, like, we're all as fighters, we know when that becomes a little harder to say, to get up and go to the gym or
Yeah,
want to have that desire to go to the gym. How long do you see yourself continue to do this?
like Roy Jones said, like the great Roy Jones said, I'm going to ride this bitch until the wheels fall off.
You did mention one thing. Just going back to the Usyk fight, you did say Tyson is like the only way to really win this fight is by stopping this guy to get a clear decision win. I mean, is that the goal overall when you fight Usyk to get a decisive win and stop him?
That's always the goal. You know, Sugar don't train me to do anything else. We always train for the knockout, but we've had 6 fights together and 5 of them by knockout. So we always train for a knockout, but sometimes you don't get the result you want and you can't always get a knockout. But for sure, I'm definitely going to go for the knockout if it comes 100%.
All right. Well, Tyson, we appreciate you. We appreciate your time. We appreciate your story. You know, most importantly is when you're done with combat sports, you're still a human at that.
Yeah.
And we appreciate the stories and the lessons that you're giving us and the entertainment that you've given us over time. You know, big shout out to you. Shout out to your camp, Sugar. You know, shout out to everyone. And of course, your fight.
Yeah, but Kamaru,
Hey, Sugar, what's up, my man?
Sugar Delight.
Listen, I'll put it right here inside this back pocket he's sitting on. And then as soon as
Yeah, we had to give a shout out to you.
Before we leave though, Tyson Fury, I want to know if you are a fan of the Temptations, and if you can give us a little soundbite. It was just my imagination. Woo! Running away with me. Come on, Tyson.
I'm a fan, but I don't know the words.
It was just my imagination. Come on, Tyson, take it over.
Well,
Yeah.
well, Tyson,
Take it easy, guys.
thank
you
you
for
so
the
much,
show, and I appreciate
Yes.
you guys. God bless.
Thank you. Good luck to you.
and have a family.
All right, Henry, we just had Tyson Fury on. I would say one of the most entertaining heavyweights right now that we have in the sport of boxing. And Tyson Fury, I thought it was a fantastic interview. Being able to talk about his upcoming fight, the rematch with Alexander Usyk, December 21st from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. And I like where he was at, Henry. I liked him. I mean, there's obviously been a lot of controversy about his life leading up, to fights and after fights, but he was dialed in. I really liked it.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. He's you can tell there's one thing that really came to mind is when he talked about him not doing, not leaving it in the gym. In other words, he was probably taking too much punishment in the gym. And realistically, like even with that, even in that first fight, I was just like, man, Tyson was doing very, very well, man, with his jab, his movement. He reminds me, he's a hybrid of Muhammad Ali and Larry Holmes. Boom, Larry Holmes had one of the quickest jabs, the snappiest jabs. And when I see a guy like Tyson Fury fight, that's who I resemble. So I mean, my biggest question, seeing at him, if he's able to make those transitions, not necessarily leave it at the gym and come in a little healthier and not allow a guy like Usyk come in and really take the space. I think he can dance his way to a 12 round victory.
Wait, okay, so wait. Did you just say that's who I resemble? That's how you resemble? In the way that he fights?
I would say so, yeah. I know Larry Holmes had a gun, dude. But but so does Tyson, bro. Tyson Fury's got a gut on him too.
Yeah, but
He got weight on the interview with him now, but it's facts.
Henry, I've watched you destroy guys with just a right hand. I've watched you take guys down. I've watched you do but a jabbing guys up, Henry, I've never seen that.
No. I'm not talking about me. I'm talking about Fury.
Oh, who Tyson Fury resembles? Okay, yeah. Yeah, it's Larry Holmes just had and there's been videos of him explaining how his jab was. It's incredible jab. And he didn't necessarily throw it to try to hurt you. It was just to set things up. And he was probably one of the masters of being able to set up combinations from just his jab. But no, I think you are right. Tyson Fury, when he's able to get that jab going and he's able to dance and move at will and set guys up, we've seen in his fights with Deontay Wilder, we've seen in his fights with other heavyweight boxers, how he utilizes that and he's able to set guys up and get guys out of there. As far as, like he said, of course, his job and what his goal is to try to get that finish in the fight. That's always the goal. Alexander Usyk has just, with all his fights with Anthony Joshua, with his fights here, and just all his fights before, even at cruiserweight, this guy is a puzzle that no one's ever been able to solve. And now with him gaining more and more confidence each and every time, I think he's going to be extremely tough to be able to get out of there.
Yeah, no, 100%. But it looks like he's on. I mean, he's a businessman. He's a businessman. He's a competitor. He's an entertainer. He understands the showbiz as a whole. And I think when you get a fighter that understands the showbiz as a whole, I mean, from having reality shows on Netflix, he does market, man, and he's able to bring up the people with him. You know, from his brother to Francis Ngannou. I mean, he's been able to really carry the sport, and I think he hit the nail on the head. Really kind of carry that sport on his back, dude. And that shit is hard to do, particularly in a sport where there's a lot of ego in the sport of boxing. I mean, just think about it, man. Just think about the amount of interviews he's supposed to do. I mean, we did a nice, close to 25-30 minute interview with him. But I guarantee you, the majority of the interviews for him are super quick and snappy and to the point, and we gotta go. So
Right.
I feel like kudos to him. I feel like if there's somebody that does need to become the heavyweight champion of the world for the sake of boxing, it is Tyson Fury.
Yeah, historically, I mean, he's definitely proven that he's fought the who's who in boxing right now, and I like his mindset too, because he not only does he know where he's at, and like you mentioned, in the sport where there's a lot of ego, but he's also has his eye on the rest of the division. He knows who's up and coming. He knows that guy's extremely talented. That guy's up and coming, but he took that fight that was way too advanced for him. He knows these guys are very, very good. These guys are talented. These guys can get here, but I need to see more activity for them. So that just shows that he's dialed in and he's prepared to go. So I'm looking forward to it. December 21st from the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. I think it's going to be a fantastic fight. I was actually, Henry, and I didn't bring this up because I didn't know how he was going to feel, but I was actually there front and center, and I walked out Francis for his fight versus Tyson Fury. So I got a chance to see the opening of Riyadh season and him and Tyson throw down in there. So, and it's an experience. It's such an experience, especially when it's a boxing fight there in the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. So I'm excited, Henry. I don't know. I don't know if they've released the card yet. So I don't know what other fights are on that card, but I'm excited to see that fight.
Yeah. And then one thing too, that really brought up to mind too, because you know what? It's all about perspective, dude. He likes the 4-bout era. He's like, you know why?
Right,
Because we
right.
could negotiate.
Right.
And I'm just like, yeah, I could see that. Because you imagine if Bellator or PFL, the UFC, ONE FC, and let's say Pride back in the day, that we could all kind of negotiate champion versus champion. I mean, that would equal up a whole lot of money. But fights don't get made. That's the only problem. I understand what Tyson Fury is saying, but that doesn't equal the best fights. But it was cool to understand his perspective on him saying, "Hey, if there's if everybody wants a Ferrari and this guy's asking for this, this guy wants this, then it becomes a bidding war." And I like the fact that he kind of brought that up because it brought up a whole new perspective to people to really look at, to see it from a new lens.
Absolutely. You're absolutely right, because we obviously in our sport we have one promotion, and then you have to take what that promotion give you. You have no choice. You're forced to take it. And by him saying that, absolutely. Imagine if this one says, "Hey, this is what we're going to pay you for that fight." Then you go to that one, you say, "Hey, they're offering this. I need you to beat that." And they go, "Okay, yeah, we'll beat that." That would definitely make it a lot more interesting, and especially in a sport like we do. I mean, we go in there each and every time. You're the one risking your life. You're risking your life, your livelihood, your well-being, your family's future, everything. You're risking all of that each and every time you get in there. And I agree with them. A fighter should be able to make the most amount of money that he can each and every fight, each and every time he steps out there to risk his life. So I completely agree with that. I get you, Henry. It was a fantastic interview. And of course, we would have loved to get him for more time. But maybe after the fight in December, maybe we'll get that opportunity to get him for a full hour so we could dive in a little bit more into his life and his struggles outside, and not just his struggles, but his triumph outside of the ring as well. And that's another thing too, is that we didn't necessarily talk about. I wanted to maybe ask him what he felt about the guy who he's named after, Mike Tyson, and his fight coming up in November against Jake Paul, a fighter that his brother knows, that Tyson Fury was coached against. So I wanted to know what they felt about that fight and how he saw that fight going on.
Yeah, well, I'm excited either way, Kamaru. I'm excited for him to square off against with Usyk. I think boxing needs it. The heavyweight division is on fire. They're carrying boxing, so I just feel like it's great, man. And hopefully, I mean, the biggest fight for him is not even Usyk. He wins this fight, that he's got a big, massive payday against Joshua, man. I think I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see, even Joshua losing, man, just because it's the UK rivalry, dude. And I think he'll double his money more so than the Ngannou fight or the Usyk fight. So I think kudos for him. I think he's earned it. He's a man of faith. He's it was cool to chop it up with him today.
I agree. Well, Henry, yeah, I know you got to catch a flight. So
a PJ.
Oh, never mind. My bad. Not just a flight, a PJ. You must be doing that with all that underdog money, huh? Yeah, you ain't on out cashing
PJ
out.
PJ with a B, and we're out.
You've been cashing out, Henry. I know you have. But as always, I'm going to try to cash out too. Guys, we've got some massive fights lined up, and there's only one place to get your picks in. I'm talking about our partners at Underdog Fantasy, the easiest place to play fantasy sports. Underdog's pick'em game is as easy as choosing higher or lower on a variety of different stats, and they've got every sport from MLB, NFL, and of course the UFC.
And this week, all you customers get a CJ free pick. The Texas QB only needs 1 yard for us to win.
Underdog is available in 30 plus states, including California, Texas, and New York. Use code P4P, that's pound for pound, when you sign up to support the show. Henry, okay, so let's get into the shit. Let's just get into it. Belal, Muhammad, yeah. Belal Muhammad is out and of the fight. He has he has staph in his toe, which is crazy. You see the picture, Henry?
I did.
Crazy.
Man. I look like, damn. That looks painful, dude. It looks like it almost kind of looks like it. What is it when you're in the cold and you have like the freaking
frostbite?
Yeah, frostbite. It looks like frostbite a little bit.
Yeah, that's crazy. I don't know how you get staph in the toe. I mean,
I tell you,
crazy situation, but I'm glad he didn't lose his toe. because that changes everything. Like we don't know how.
But are you really glad he didn't lose his toe, Kamaru?
Absolutely not glad he didn't lose his toe. Like, listen to me. At the end of the day, let's be honest. I do honestly, I do think he's a dork. That's my personal personal opinion. But at the end of the day,
then? If he's a dork, what am I, Kamaru?
You're a troll sometimes and a dork sometimes, but you're a troll. You're not a dork like him, though. But listen, that's beside the point. That's a personal belief. I do think sometimes he does act like a dork, but I do think Belal he's a man. You know, he's a man at the same time, and he's a competitor. He's a fighter, and I would never want to see that happen to anyone. I've dealt with a series of injuries, and it's never fun, especially when this is our livelihood. This is how he feeds his family. So I would never, ever want something like that to happen. So hope for a speedy recovery for Mr. Belal.
I can't believe this is coming out of your mouth, Kamaru. This is really coming out of your mouth.
What you mean?
Anyhow, that being said,
why you acting shocked? Why you acting shocked, Henry?
No. Obviously, I am
no hater. I am no hater. I just call it how I see it. But
sure?
I'm hoping for a speedy recovery. Yeah. No, I am hoping for a speedy recovery. I'm glad something.
No, 100%. No, I believe you, man. Those who really know Kamaru Usman, he's he's a gentle soul, man. You know. But that being said, I mean, Alex Pereira got the call. And Alex Pereira apparently is still jacked up.
Who you think? Yeah,
so I have an idea. Why not make the Nigerian Nightmare fight his teammate Rakhmonov Shavkat? Am I too off? There's probably a reason why. I mean, you got the beanie on. I mean, I know it don't get that cold in Florida. I mean, are you out in Colorado? You want to tell us something? You ain't telling the world, Kush?
What are you talking about? First of all, if I know something, I'm gonna tell you straight up. This our show. You don't think I'm gonna tell you our show?
I think you can say the damn fight card. Hold on. I think you can say the damn fight card. I really do. December 7th, I could see it hitting big numbers with the Nigerian Nightmare making his return against Rakhmonov. What do you think? Am I too far stretched here, Kamaru?
Well, first of all, yeah, I mean the company. Everybody knows that, you know.
And he called you out. Just so you know.
Oh, he called me out. When he called me out?
Yeah, can we get our producers, Ryan? Can you pull up the tweet?
But listen. At the end of the day, first of all, Henry, let me clarify something. We're not teammates. He comes in and trains in my gym, where I was for most of my career until the last 4 or 5 years, which I'm still in that gym. You know, that's H Kickboxing, Henry's gym. Kill Cliff now is the name, but he's not my teammate per se. But if the UFC is going to call who they think is going to be legit, tough enough, and man enough to step in there is crazy enough to step in there on short notice and go out there and possibly shock the world. Definitely, the UFC know who to call when that situation happens. And if they do give me a call, I'm going to answer the call. We'll get a couple of things straight. And, if we got to do it, we got to do it. Okay, I don't shy away from any of that. I mean,
I like that.
I've done it on 7 days notice. I've done it on 6 days notice. I've done it on 8 days notice. And hey.
Yeah, no, 100%.
This is only a couple weeks notice, but it is what it is. Henry, you all concerned about me. What about you? What about you? Chito Vera came out and said, "What's up? You was talking mess, Henry. You was talking all that shit when I was fighting Sean O'Malley. You talking about I ain't do this, I ain't do that, I ain't capable of this or that. See me, Henry."
No, 100%. But he knows, man. And when it comes to the toughest competition,
what does he know?
He doesn't come through. I've asked for that fight for Chito, but I'm gonna tell you something, Kamaru. I've gotten into it with Campbell, with Hunter Campbell, and I ain't calling anybody out because I pretty much want him to pick. I mean, I literally got into it. I don't want to get into it with Hunter Campbell no more. But if that's what he wants, and if that's what he picks, then Chito Vera, you're next. You're on that hot seat. I think it's a great fight, dude. I think, but he's trying to pick the day. So he said, January, February looks good. I told the UFC that one, I've been helping out the Trump, the Trump campaign for this last month, dude, from Kerry Lake to opening up for President Trump. I've been doing a lot, and today's the actual election, man. So I'm super stoked for that. But it's not only Chito Vera, it's also Brandon Royval, man. He wants a piece of the Triple C, but he's saying, like, hey, you know what? He's like, if I don't get a title shot at 125 pounds, give me Triple C. But he does it. But he did say, man, the dude looks a little big, He said, you look a little big, man. So I don't know if he could actually make that weight. So I think there's still a lot, man. I really do got to sit down. I think this is the week where I'll probably fly down to Vegas, talk to Hunter Campbell, see what the future that I want to do. And who knows, bro? Like, there's the Chito Vera, there's Song Yadong, which they originally wanted me to fight before I got into it with Hunter Campbell. And I don't want to do that shit no more because I respect Dana and all that. Whoever they decide to give me, they can all get it. Whether it's Chito sorry-ass Vera, whether it's Brandon, Royval, who I want to call him almost because he gets this close and never does it, or whether it's Sean Gedong, your long dong, if he wants that.
Jesus, Henry.
But I will say this, the fight that I would really want ahead of all those dudes, why don't we do Sean O'Malley here in Phoenix, man? Here in Phoenix, bro. I'm ranked number 6. Sean O'Malley, I don't know what the hell he's ranked, but after that performance with Marab, dude, he should definitely go down at least a few freaking slots. So I think it keeps us closer. I think there's already animosity. The fact that he came on the podcast, fucking did us dirty. I'm going to say did us dirty, Kamaru. I did him dirty when he was doing that interview, but whatever, dude. Chito Vera, Brandon Royval, Song Yadong.
Wait, Henry,
they can all get it.
I got to go at you here. So, Henry, like, time and time again, I'm going down to 25. I'm back. I'm with it. I'm that. All right, I'm with you. You my brother. I got you. What are we doing? Because you say Sean O'Malley, that's at 35.
Yeah. And
Song Yadong, that's at 35.
Yeah.
Brandon Royval and what's his name?
Moreno.
My guy, Chito Vera, that's
McLovin.
at 35.
What about McLovin? There's tons of fights for me.
That's at 35. So, Henry, what are you doing? Are you going to 35 or are you going to 25? What are you doing?
Stay tuned and subscribe for the Pound for Pound podcast because we coming in hot.
Okay, so Chito Vera, he said he want that smoke. Are you going to give him that smoke?
Oh, 100%. If Hunter and the UFC, they're changing. It's not like how it used to be, Kamaru.
What you mean?
Promise you, dude. It's
Talk
just
about
different,
it.
bro.
Let's get into it. What you mean?
Dude, no, man. Hunter's going to come at me. I told Hunter.
You scared?
Yeah, I'm shook, dude. I'm shook. They're about to say, Henry, Triple C, get the hell out. You're out of here. We're taking.
Why? You Triple C. I see 2 belts back there. 2.
Yeah, but you know what, Kamaru, just time changing. I get it, man. They gotta run their business the way they want to run it. And you know me, bro. I love calling everybody out. The Chito Vera, I like. The Royval, if I do decide to go down to 25, I like. The Brandon Moreno fight, I like. But the one that I really like, if they're up for it, it would still be that Sean O'Malley fight. I mean, other than that, dude, I think it makes perfect sense for us. But they can all get it, Kamaru. Like I told you before, dude, I'm just like you. I don't shy away, dude. I fought everybody. I fought the who's in my division and 2 divisions, so they can all get it.
All right, Henry. I hear you, but this weekend is it's another big weekend. It's the 100th show, I believe. UFC Apex, UFC Fight Night at the Apex. Neo Magny taking on Carlos Prates. You know I like this dude. You know last time he came out like Mayorga, he had the joint. You know, he was in the back with the joint in the life, maybe in the locker room, maybe not in the locker room. But
shit, what was it a joint? Was it a joint?
No, I think it might have been a cigarette, but you know, he was out there blowing one. You know, he came out bumping that Ross, you know what I mean? He tatted up, he got the chain on, and he out there doing his thing. So I rock with Prates.
Yeah.
You know, but Neo Magny is obviously Neo Magny is a fearless individual. This is just a guy that just loves to fight.
Yeah, that's from me. He trains with you guys, right? He's out there with you guys, right?
He trains in Denver, yes. And Neo's he's willing to get in there and Leo's done a lot of this. Last or the fight before last, they threw him in there with the young, hungry, what's the Canadian guy's name? Mallet. And Neo Magny went out there and did what he's done to a lot of guys. He went out there and whooped dude. You feel me? So Neil Magny
Yeah.
don't shy away. Neil Magny has a lot of fights. He's taken a lot of fights like this. I believe he beat Kelvin Gastelum when Kelvin Gastelum was hot on the press. He went out there to Mexico City
Yeah.
and whooped Kevin Gastelum. He took a fight with freaking Robbie Lawler and won the fight. He took a fight with freaking what's his name, Hector Lombard, and went out there and won a fight with Hector Lombard. So,
dude, oh my God, dude! I tell you what, his resume is absolutely
look at him.
ridiculous.
Ridiculous. This man is not. He's not afraid. Win, lose, draw. He's not afraid to fight anybody. You would throw him in there with anyone. He has a win over
Gilbert
Look
Burns.
at this. He has a win over Jeff Neal, Max Griffin.
Damn.
Has a win over Daniel Rodriguez. Has a win over Phil Rowe. Has a win over Mac Mallet. He has a win over Hector Lombard, Robbie Lawler, Anthony Martin. A win over Carlos Condit. Are you serious? A win over Johnny Hendricks, former champion. Robbie Lawler, former champion. Carlos Condit, former interim champion. Hey, listen, Neil Magny ain't no punk. He's willing to jump in there on this, what now, a couple of weeks' notice and go in there and get the fight. But he is fighting a young, hungry, streaking Carlos Prates in there bumping that Ross. You know, he got the
Ricky Ross. Push it to the limit.
Is that your only Rick Ross song that you know? Jesus. Damn it, Henry.
Dude, I'm commercial, bro. I'm commercial. But I will say this about Carlos Prates, man. When it comes to like the best strikers in the UFC right now, he's definitely in the top 5, and I would almost put him in the top 3. He's super dangerous with his striking. Now he is fighting a guy like Neil Magny, and Neil Magny has spoiled a lot of parties. One is my boy, Calvin Gastelum, dude. Like the way he was able to control him with the grappling. 2, it was Michael Malott too, man. I underestimated him. I didn't think he was going to win that fight. Dude, if the dude is able to bring forth that experience and bring in that guerrilla war, Prates could be in trouble. But how good is Prates? Will he get taken down? I do believe that Neil Magny could take him down, but could he get back up? And if Prates does get back up and keeps it on his feet, Neil Magny's he's dangerous, bro. Carlos Prates does a really good job of literally catching hand, throwing his left because he's a southpaw, and then people will stay there comfortable because they're like, "Well, he has my hand." Next, boom, there's a knee coming as he's knocked people out. The dude is super dangerous. The UFC is building him. They do feel like he could beat a guy, a vet in Neil Magny. I like that, man. But what's next for him? If he does get this victory over Neil Magny, I'm gonna have to say MVP. What do you think, Kush?
I think this is a fantastic fight to measure where Carlos Prates is, because Neil Magny is right there at the bottom of the top 15, and so a fight like this gets Carlos Prates in there in the top 15, which if he's able to be victorious, which means now the UFC is doing a fantastic job of bringing in the new talent. When you've got guys like Carlos Prates, you got guys like the Michael, Malott that Neil Magny just whooped, and then you've got guys like a Morales kid. Then you got guys like, of course, the Ian Garys, the Shavkat Rachmanov, and the JDM. So the UFC is doing a good job of kind of filtering these guys in now. These new young, hungry guys that could potentially be the names in the future. So I don't know about Neil Magny taking this fight on such short notice, because I just feel like, I don't know what it is, but I feel like just something is a little off. I don't know what Neil Magny is. I know he's willing to fight anybody at any time, but I do think something's a little off to where I think he should maybe take a little time to let things kind of settle down and figure out how he wants to continue, because Neil Magny, I think, has always been a very, very talented guy. And you don't want to just be the guy that goes in there, loses 3, wins 1, loses 3, wins 1, loses 2, wins 1, and that type of situation. Because at the end of the day, what we know in this sport is very unforgiving. Each and every time you step in there, you are taking punishment. You are throwing your body on the line. And so I would like to see Neil Magny just kind of get a little, because it seems right now that the focus might be a little off. But hey, if anybody can go in there and spoil the party, I think no one's better right now than Neil Magny. He's able to get in there. Sometimes he gets it done. But if he's unable to get it done with a guy like Carlos Prates what's next for Prates? I hear you on the MVP fight, but the same thing I told you with the Ian Gary and MVP fight. You know, sometimes you see excellent strikers and you think that's going to make for a fantastic, exciting fight. Sometimes it doesn't really make that for that. But I do think that Prates and MVP would be more exciting than MVP and Ian Gary, because Prates is a guy that has a lot of different weapons. He's a Muay Thai guy. He loves action, and he's willing to go in there, not just play the little point game that Ian Gary and did with MVP. So I do think it's a more exciting fight. I'm not mad at it. I like it, but who knows?
No, and I tell you what, too, Kamaru, it's like, dude, the 170 pounds, it ain't like heavyweight, bro. Look at all you guys. If I go down the ladder, like, you guys all mix your fighting, from Sean Brady, Rachmanov, Jack Della Magdalena, Kobe Covington, Ian Gary, Gilbert Burns, Buckley, Jeff Neal. Like, a lot of these guys, like, it's not the heavyweight or the light heavyweight division where you're just gonna get this. Like, if you're able to do that, dude, in this division, dude, that says a lot. I mean, there's also that Wonder Boy fight too. I mean, there's a lot of things that the UFC could potentially do, but Prates is a problem. And if he's able to keep it on his feet, I'm sorry, man, but Neil Magny's going to sleep.
Yeah, I mean that would be the easy that would be a easy, what's the word, assumption here, because of the way that Carlos Prates has been doing his opponent, especially in this last fight, which was spectacular, by the way. The way he did Ling Jiggling was crazy. Crazy, you know. Pause, Henry. Come on, bro. Get your mind out there. But yeah, the way he was able to do him in that fight, it was crazy. And it showed that Prates is a very, very promising guy with a lot of talent. And yes, if Neil Magny is able to get in there and get his hands on Prates and potentially drag him down, and we see Prates in the later round, how is he going to fare with that? But I'm excited to see it. I think it's a fantastic main event to really showcase the next up-and-coming fighters that UFC have, especially at my weight in the welterweight division.
But either way, congratulations to the UFC. Their 100th show at the Apex. I mean, incredible. Saving a little money, bringing some good fights, and having the fights to be very intimate. So congratulations to the UFC. Well, now we have a question from the Casual Kush. How would you build a perfect fighter? Striking, defense, wrestling, chin, personality, and legacy.
If I had to build the best, I would say striking wise, right now, I'm gonna have to go with. I would have to say a guy like Ilia Topuria. I think his balance is crazy, and to be able to punch, kick, and defend, slide in and out, and defend wrestling shots, I would have to say Ilia Topuria.
So I'm actually going to have to agree with you on Topuria, because he does have hands, and obviously it's fucking obvious. Defense, I'm gonna have to go with a guy like Bo Nickel, man, defensively. Oh wait, hold on. That's defense. That's defense on the feet.
Defense, okay. Yes. Fight defense.
Fight defense too. Then I'm probably gonna have to go with Ilia once again.
Okay, so
he keeps his hands up. He's here. Like he did get hit. He did get pepped up, but defensively, dude, his hands are always up.
It's crazy, honestly. I would have to say defense. I'm gonna go with either a guy like Topuria, and as weird as it sounds, maybe Sean Strickland. Because it's so hard to hit this guy.
That fight with Pereira, dude.
But yeah, that's how many guys do him like that.
You know what? You might be right. I like that one. I like
Strickland has a lot of fights in the UFC. Yes,
it's puzzling.
He does this little thing to where, and I fought the guy. It's very difficult to hit this guy clean to his face. So I'm gonna say Topuria, put that Topuria or Sean Strickland / Sean Strickland. I would say defense, those two. But obviously, I would give the edge to Topuria because of wrestling, defense, and all those things as well. So I would say Topuria. Wrestling, I would have to go with Hamza Chimaev.
Okay.
or Islam Makhachev.
Oh, yeah, but you got to pick one, Kush. What's up, dude?
I would have to say Khamzat Chimaev wrestling right now because if he's breaking teeth, taking guys down, breaking teeth, I'm going with Khamzat Chimaev.
Fuck. If that's the case, then I'm gonna say fuck. If that's the case, then I'm gonna have to say fucking Marab, dude. No.
Yes.
No,
that's a good one.
No.
That's a good one.
Hey, I can't because I wasn't 100%.
Don't take it back. It don't matter.
I can't.
You think I was 100% when I fought? You think I was 100% when I fought Hamza?
He beat me. He dominated me. He did take me down.
Marab.
But if I'm really gonna go with no, I can't go with Marab.
Why?
Because I wasn't 100. But if I was 100, it'd be a little bit different. But that being said, I'm gonna go with Bo Nickel. I think Bo Nickel is. I think he's young, dude. He still has that college style, the riding, the takedowns. He's gonna be a really hard dude to get off you, man. So not only is he at the takedown entries, and he just called out Khamzat Chimaev. If you didn't know, once he wins it, he wants to fight Khamzat next. Will the UFC give him that? Who knows?
No, Khamzat Chimaev is in the way of fighting for a title, so that's a no.
Yeah, I don't think so. But I'm just telling you,
I hear you. I hear you. I think you should have went with Marab, but it is what it is. Let's slide over. Chin, I'm gonna have to go with. Man, it's a tough one. It's a tough one.
I got a good one, bro. You're not even gonna know, bro. I got a good one.
You go first on this one. You go first.
I'm gonna have to go with your potential matchup, Rachmanov. That dude, man, you hit him, and it's crazy, bro. Like I've never seen somebody. I never really like to give people props on him taking a punch, but fuck, can that dude take a punch? Jesus Christ, dude! Like he gets better as he gets hit. It's crazy.
Chin. I would have to go with, sheesh, there's a lot of tough guys here. I might have to go with Michael Chandler. Because I don't think I would have to go with Michael Chandler with Chin.
Okay. All right.
And then personality, I'm going to have to go with Conor McGregor.
Really?
Personality. This is as Henry, as you love to remind me every time, this is an entertainment company, and we're here to entertain the masses. And I don't think anyone's done it better than Conor McGregor as far as getting people to care, whether they hate him, whether they like him. And you hear what the great Mike Tyson says. Hey, hate sells more than love. But love is more powerful than hate. So hey, I'm gonna say Conor McGregor.
If you want to go, if you want to go personality, I'm probably other than myself, other than the Triple C, the king of cringe. Well, I think they're all pretty dry, so I'm about to say the Triple C. You can put them on there. You know, I create fights. I come out with the theatrics. I throw pillows. I'm fucking slamming snakes, and then I'm gonna end it with the legacy. And you cannot end it with a 2-division champ, Olympic champ, and his name is Triple C again.
I like it. Legacy.
Who's got a better legacy than me in combat sports? Not in MMA, in combat sports, Kush. Think about it.
Well, first of all, we're talking about MMA. So I would have to say legacy as a man, and just as a person, I'm going to have to say my own. Because I created that thing. I worked, I put the time, and I put the effort. I put the blood, sweat, tears, and pain into that legacy. So I'm going to have to say my own. But I love every other fighter and everything that they've done. All the greats that we've mentioned up here, you know. But I would have to say my own. I wouldn't change it for anything. I wouldn't do it any other way. So, yep, that's the way that I would build my perfect fighter. And if that's the way you're going to build yours, it is what it is. But before we go, I want to ask who you think will beat who? Which fighter beats who? Which fighter is richer? Which fighters last longer? Who you think?
On which one?
On what we just built. Which fighter you think legacy would be better? Mine or yours?
Oh, you got to go with the Triple C, bro. Kamaru. the reason why, because listen, but I'm gonna give my thing because
all right, give it to me
because it's the merit, bro. Because 2 bouts, and this is why I've always wanted you to fight your boy Israel Adesanya. Because if you were to solidify that second bout, like I'm in a category, bro, where there's only 3 men simultaneously in UFC history and I am fucking one of them. And I do believe that it's a very, there's a lot of double champs, but simultaneous champs, there's only 3. So personally, I like my accolades. I like them, particularly for combat sports. Like I don't think nobody comes close to. I really
You
do.
could keep your accolades with your bum life. I ride past you with my Rolls Royce. You can keep that with your bum life, Henry. Huh? You want your legacy? Fine, you keep that with your bum life. But guess what? I go to the bank and I make it rain, baby. Yeah. Yeah. The fuck is that guy, huh? Yeah. So, yeah, say what you want to say, Henry, but I'm going to ride past you in my Rolls Royce. Yeah.
Buy me one then.
Well, Henry, as always, it's been fun. And, yeah, it's an interesting week. Let's see what happens at the end of this week. Yeah. Huh? As always, I am the Nigerian Nightmare, Kamaru Usman.
Henry Cejudo, a.k.a. Triple C.
Can't really see it on this one. But anyways, we out.